Hey, what's going on, crypto people? It is the Crypto Siege with another day in the life, in the crazy life that is the digital asset space. What's going on? How are you? Happy Thursday. Looks like it's going to be a nice couple of days here on the East Coast. Oddly enough, looking forward to that. Interesting day today. Heard news about the new partnership with Ripple with a company called D Money. We're going to talk about that a little bit. Very curious to see what you guys think about the FDIC approving Square's banking license. Interesting, I think. We're going to talk about what is that? Is that a good look for Ripple or not? We'll have to see. We'll have to see. Is that a good look? We will have to see. Let's do this. Not that I need to do that anyway, but we'll have to see if that's a good look or not. We'll have to see what's up with that. Square. FDIC approves Square's banking license. Whoa, what is going on there? Was that a good look for Ripple? Is that a good look for banks, the traditional banks? I'm not sure it is. I'm not sure that it is at all. So I'm going to talk about that. When Mullet is in the building. What's going on with Mullet? Good to see you, bro. Dubian2 is here. What's going on, man? Crawfish is in the building. What's happening, Siege? What's up with you, Crawfish? Life is great. It's going to be nice and almost 80 degrees today and tomorrow. Ace Crypto. Morning, XRP fam. Good morning to you, Ace Crypto. Good morning, Jackie33. Good to see you, miss. Got to tell you, that's an interesting article, right? FDIC approves Square for a banking license. What? What does that look like? What does that look like? I'm just wondering. What's the background behind Square anyway? Like, what's the who owns Square and who does Square own? Right? Who owns Square and who does Square own? They went out and got themselves a banking license. What does that mean for the traditional banks? What's going on in the market today? Let's see what's going on there. I'm gonna go to my trusted Binance app just to kind of see what's going on. Look at this, 58 something. Bitcoin's got up double figures, 11% since 24 hours. $5,800. Interesting. XRP is 16 cents. A lot of people saying this is time for the alts. We'll see. I'm not listening to any of that noise. I still got the long-term perspective going on. I still believe in the alts. I still believe BTC is the greatest distraction in the history of the digital asset space. Cadillac is in the building. What's going on with you, Cadillac? Cadillac says 7th like, 11 in the chat. Level up on CJ's likes. How about that? Thank you, Cadillac. I appreciate you being here this morning. Or not for Ripple. And I think even a more important question is this: what does this say about the traditional banks, Wells Fargo and the like? Is this a threat to them? For me, I think this is great for Ripple. My thing is, what is Square going to be able to do that the traditional banks are not going to be able to do? We're going to go into that. It's right. What is this? What is the overall picture for something like this? What is the big play? You know what I mean? What's the long-term effect of Square getting this banking license? So does anybody know who owns Square and who Square owns? I have to look it up, huh? Square Inc. Let me see something. A de novo institutional industrial bank. Square Inc. Okay, hold on a second, guys. Okay, there it is. Jack Dorsey, the most revelation Square CEO and co-founder. So Jack Dorsey owns Square. Okay, that's the Twitter guy, right? Okay. Bro, XRP, was good to see you on the stream, bro. See, Square might be setting a precedence for decentralized banking. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I'm thinking. Like, what's the ramifications now that Square has got this license? So Jack Dorsey owns Square. YouTube, Coinbase Mafia. I think that there's something. It's going to be something to that. Them getting that license from the FDIC is going to be something to that. And I think what it's going to mean for Ripple is, the power behind RippleNet is in the network. It's in the network. And my thing is, is Square going to be able to be more mobile, more light, and be able to pivot and make moves that the traditional banks are not? Because if that's the case, it's going to be great for Ripple, because these banks, especially these correspondent small, medium-sized banks, are going to need the power of a network in order to be able to compete with Square, I believe. That's what I believe. That's going to be the challenge. That's what I think is going to be the challenge ultimately, is them being able to, the traditional banks being able to compete with the likes of Square. And that's a great point, bro. XRP. Square might be setting a precedence for decentralized banking. It's interesting. It's going to be really, really interesting to see. Let's go over this article a little bit. I have not read it. I have not read it yet. So let's see. Bro, XRP, exactly. Unless they're on the RippleNet. Bro, XRP says, Siege, ramifications could be our traditional banking institutions go belly up for real. Unless they hop on the RippleNet and they get the power of a network and the network effect. Just standing alone, they're not going to just be able to compete. Operating in the traditional banking model, they're not going to compete. They're not going to be able to compete with Square. This is what I'm thinking, bro, XRP. B. Douglas is in the building. Good morning to you, B. Douglas. Raymond Scott, what's up, bro? Good to see you. Let's see, where is this? There it is. Change this view. Can you buy crypto on Square? I think somebody just said. Can you buy crypto on Square? Was that the question? Yeah, it was. Jackie33. Or use it to pay with crypto. Can't recall. I can't either. I can't either, Jackie33. Can't you buy crypto on Square or use it to pay with crypto? I thought so, but I'm not familiar. I've never looked at Square at one iota. I guess we should. Bro, XRP says, Siege, very true. Either get on board or get left behind. That's exactly right. Or as Margine Delatine likes to say, disintermediated, right? Let's look at this. Let's take a look at this article. Shout out to payments.com. FDIC approves Square for a banking license. The Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation gave the green light to an application from the fintech firm Square to create a de novo industrial bank in Utah, the agency said on Wednesday. Square Financial Services will originate commercial loans to the retailers that use Square for payments. The headquarters will be in Salt Lake City, Utah. The Utah Department of Financial Institutions still has to issue approvals to the San Francisco-based fintech. Square Inc. was formed in 2009 as a payment service provider to enable businesses to accept card payments. The platform has been expanded to include point-of-sale payments, financing, and other services. FDIC staff found that Square satisfied each of the statutory factors required for approval subject to certain conditions. Wasn't this just an article out there in the crypto world about the fact that they were looking to approve more of these kind of non-bank institutions to kind of get into the banking space? I believe there was an article out there about that recently. One of the conditions would require the proposed bank to maintain levels of capital that are significantly higher than typical FDIC insured banks. The FDIC chairman, Elena McWilliams, said in a statement. The new bank anticipates opening next year. It will be a Square subsidiary and will work independently. The bank will extend small business loans and deposit accounts, Square said in a statement. We appreciate the FDIC's thoughtful approach to our application and their recognition that Square Capital is uniquely positioned to build a bridge between the financial system and the underserved, says Jacqueline Reeses. Square Capital lead and executive chairwoman of the board of directors of Square Fintech Services. We're now focused on the work ahead to build out Square Financial Services and open our bank to small business customers. The challenge is, how is Square going to operate? Are they going to operate in the same model as the traditional banks, where they're not really serving the people? Square launched its campaign to open a bank more than 2 years ago. Same bank lobbyists and community groups were not in favor. Some bank lobbyists and community groups were not in favor of the move because it was going after an industrial loan company bank charter, ILC bank charter. The bank will be headed by Square Financial Services Chief Executive Officer Louis Goodwin and Chief Financial Officer Brandon Soto. They both have many years of banking expertise, Square said, including running multiple ILCs. The FTC is considering setting new stricter oversight regulations for fintechs as a way to boost transparency and establish record-keeping rules. Well, they got to start somewhere. So it's probably a good idea to start high and then kind of work your way down in terms of these oversight regulations. But I find that to be very, very interesting that they're going in this direction. But my question as well is, like Alex Mashinsky says, are they going to, get into this decentralized space eventually and just act like the traditional banks? Is Square going to just do the same things and operate in a way that they're providing all the benefits and stuff to the stockholders and not to the people who put their money in the platform, in the bank? That's what we'll have to wait and see. But I think this is just the start. This is just the start of many more of these approvals. Barry Broussard, good to see you in the stream, my friend. Barry Broussard Jr. Crypto Siege live. Knocked my morning up a notch. Well, I appreciate you being here, brother. Jackie33 says, I know they are very pro-crypto. Absolutely. Absolutely they are. I've been working with Puerto Rico for the past 5 weeks, helping out with earthquake disaster relief, missing a ton of live content throughout the crypto space. Well, that's very, very cool of you to go out in there and serve, Barrett Broussard, and I'm glad that you have an opportunity to check in this morning. No. Bro, XRP Siege, any thoughts on Greg Manorino's crazy end of the world rants? No. No. It's people can kind of go one way or another. He seems like a pretty smart guy. End of the world, there's going to be some big time financial stuff going on. Remember, they have to get this market up right up into about the brink of destruction before they bring in the answer. And we all know what we want the answer to be, but we don't know what they want the answer to be. At least the initial answer, right? Because there's got to be a plan A and a plan B, in my opinion, right? Grad Barlinghouse is in the building. XRP Lava, how are you? Good to see you on the stream. XRP number one is here. XRP number one is in the building. Good to see you. Yeah, absolutely. So that's the interesting. I think that's just the beginning of more and more of these fintech firms getting these banking licenses, and I think it's going to be a disruptor for the traditional banks. And they're going to have to sink or swim. They're going to have to find a way to stay relevant, right? They're going to have to find a way to stay relevant. And I think the only way is going to be RippleNet. Or at least I believe the best way is going to be RippleNet. I really, really, really believe that. And I think that Bank of America knows this. They were smart enough to see, 4, 5, 10 years into the future, and they have made some moves to stay relevant. They have made some moves to stay relevant. When do you guys think the Bank of America Ripple partnership announcement is going to come? Like, when do you think that's coming? Any thoughts on when you think this Bank of America thing is coming? I mean, we all saw what happened with Cobbs and them asking him to take it down, and that they were preparing something to kind of roll it out. Like, my thing is, when? When is it going to get rolled out? When is this thing going to get rolled out? That's the question, is when. Oh yeah, you can never forget that, bro, XRP. This is it is always about, the commodity in social media is attention, right? That is the commodity, right? I'm trying to see what's going on here. A virtual gift card. Okay. What's going on in the Investment Perspective Telegram chat? It's going to be this is something from Vitse Then. It's just on ledger info. So if XRP is on an exchange, it will count as a big stash in one exchange wallet. So people holding at exchanges and people spreading over multiple on ledger accounts skew the data. It's just an indication of trend movement. The Bank of England cuts interest rates further to 0.1. Okay. I didn't know that. Okay. The Bank of England has cut its main interest rate from 0.25 to 0.1 due to the beer cold. The financial institutions also said it will increase its holdings of UK government bonds and non-financial grade bonds. Guys, that's two very interesting things. So the UK cut their rates as well. Bro, XRP, by August, we all should be millionaire, folks. I would not be opposed to such a thing. I can tell you that, bro, XRP. So, Winmella, you believe that the announcement with Bank of America and Ripple is going to be after their IPO? Interesting. Yeah, it's so hard. Oh, bro, XRP, big connect. Yeah. Oh goodness. What? Anyone seen this? Trump pushes a $5 trillion BitConnect investment plan. That's got to be a joke. There's got to be a joke somewhere. Was that XRP Productions who did that? XRP number one? You got to watch out. Is it XRP Standard Productions or something like that? You got to watch out. That's kind of like a parody on things. Yeah, parties at Bros X. Absolutely. I'll be there. I will definitely be there. So again, I just think this is a trendsetter with Square getting this approval from the FDIC, and I think that they're going to be more fintech companies that look to do this and get this as well. This is really should be a big time sounding alarm for these traditional banks. They have to make a move. They have to do a pivot. They're going to have to adjust and adapt, just like Bank of America has done. And I believe Bank of America has done it in a big way. I'm talking market maker type role that they're looking to play in this new digital asset space, in this new asset class, I should say, excuse me, in this new asset class that is the digital asset space. I think Bank of America understands it, has made the moves to position themselves to be a massive market maker. Blockchain backer says today's is the crypto's launch. Okay. When mullet, interesting. So that's kind of what's going on there. Let's see what's going on with Twitter. I don't know. Again, I think this is, I asked in the beginning of the stream, was this a good thing or bad thing for Ripple with this Square getting this approval? I think it's a great thing for them. I think that the traditional banks are in trouble. They know it, and they're going to have to make different kind of moves. One of the best moves that they can make to stay relevant is to hop on that Ripple net and enjoy and embrace and realize the power of that network effect. And because that's what Ripple is setting up. They're setting up a powerful network. We know, we talked in the stream last night that that big difference between the two. There's a big difference between the two, and these banks are going to have to make a move, their best move. And I haven't checked out blockchain backer in a while. I don't know what's going on. Let me see what I have for you guys on Twitter. Barry Broussard Jr. has an interesting point here. He says, Bank of America partnership, in my opinion, is going to be announced as a way to help introduce XRP to the masses, since the world is familiar with Bank of America. I'm thinking this will be before any massive upturns in XRP price. Okay. That makes sense. There's got to be a strategic movement to it. Listen, when Ripple is taking the time to ask people to take down information about that partnership between Bank of America and Ripple, there's got to be a really, really important reason for that, right? They're not going to just do that for zero reason. That is a possibility. When Muller says some banks will just buy Square eventually, like brokers buying exchanges. Yeah, I mean, that is a possibility. Jack Dorsey, we'll see, right? XRP says Siege. Okay, so we'll have to make a list for the party that you guys are throwing at my house. We're open for suggestions. The cryptic bloom.com is in the building. How are you, my friend? People thought the same thing about MoneyGram. Yeah, MoneyGram to me is just a giant, a sleeping giant. I think what they're going to ultimately do is going to be massive. Look at all of the Ripple partnerships, says to the cryptobloom.com. It's just a matter of waiting for the switch. Yep. Yep. That is exactly right. Let me see what I got going on for you. I had some interesting things that I saved on Twitter. Let me share my screen here. This is a very interesting thing right here. Let's see what's going on in the Twitter world. What are you guys doing during this the beer cold? What are you guys doing? Are you guys at home? Are you guys at home hanging out? What are you guys doing? What happened to my thing? What happened to my chat? Oh, that's not it. There it is. I was like, what in the world happened to my chat? You folks know of the Faster Payments Task Force? Yes, Cryptic Bloom. We do know about that. Yeah, I mean, I could see. Barry Prasad. I just think that that Bank of America thing is going to be huge in so many ways, and you know how they put it together. Hopefully, Ripple and them together make this announcement. But I do like your comment earlier, because I think it's just it's a way to let the masses know, like you said, the masses know Bank of America. Yeah, Bro XRP, I'm going to use a VeChain blockchain to order all the party supplies, folks. There you go. Jackie33, you said you're sitting in your 10,000 square foot store listening to XRP videos. Nice, very nice. XRP number one says working still, but need a paper to be able to move around. Got stopped by a roadblock yesterday. Oh wow, really? Agenda is to implement blockchain tech into our financial systems. Absolutely. Fed and Ripple are a part of that group. Absolutely. Yep. We all, yeah, very, very familiar with the Faster Payments Task Force, my friend. That has been covered extensively in the XRP community by plenty of content creators here. Yeah, you're right about that, Cryptic Bloom. You're right about that, without question. So here's something interesting, some breaking news. This morning, I have spoken to economic experts about Australia's foreign debt bubble. Given that the dollar is crashing through the floor, I was told at this rate, the current account deficit is likely to explode within 3 months, meaning a currency crisis. That's interesting. Let me retweet that. That's interesting right there. Let me see something. Let me see what I got for you guys. Julia Chatterley says, discussing the need for governments and central banks to do more to get it right and reboot the global economy later this year with Christine Romans on First Move. So she's saying this is something that she's going to do later on this year. So we'll be looking forward to that. Interesting here as well from Julia. A pivotal moment. China says no new. China says so. Yeah. No new local infections to the beer cold in 24 hours. So David Culver and at First Move joins us with some good news. So interesting. Hold on. Let me see something, guys.
About the details, assuming we trust the glimmer of light, we could be seeing a major turning point in the battle against the coronavirus. For the first time, China says no new locally transmitted cases were diagnosed in the past 24 hours. Authorities say they counted 34 new infections, but say all of them were people entering China from abroad. David Culver is live in Shanghai for us. David, that last sentence there concerns me greatly, but talk to me about the details, assuming we trust the information, but tell me the details because I think we need to hear this.
The sourcing of all of this is important to keep in mind, Julia. It is data that comes from the National Health Commission from China. But we also need to stress the World Health Organization has relied on this data, and President Trump was even asked about it just last week and said that as far as he's concerned, the numbers seem to be positive and look to be trending in the right direction. So he seems to be relying on as well. But yeah, this is all coming from China. And they're saying no new locally transmitted cases. That is a major milestone and certainly significant in the turnaround of this outbreak and their control of it, so it seems. But your point on this 34 increase of really imported cases is how they're describing it. What does that mean? All right, that means folks who are coming from outside of China coming here into the People's Republic. And so you go back just a few weeks and we can think of when everyone else internationally was focused on anyone traveling from mainland China and was really concerned and putting in travel bans. Now it seems that China's worried about all the other countries and travelers coming back here, potentially bringing with them the virus and exposing others. So what are they doing? Well, within Beijing's Capital International Airport, they have set up strict screening that requires all international travelers to go through a screening and evaluation process. They then will be required to spend 14 days in a government-designated facility before they can then continue on to their final destination, either within Beijing or within other parts of mainland China. We're also seeing, interestingly enough, Julia, that while these numbers are looking positive, China is moving forward with increasing hospital capacity, according to the World Health Organization, and they're also continuing in requesting and manufacturing ventilators. So it seems to suggest that they are keeping their minds on a potential spike or second wave, if you will, once restrictions start to ease. Because go to Wuhan, the epicenter of all of this, and there still is the extreme lockdown measure in place, meaning folks are basically sealed inside their homes. It's 8 weeks ago today that lockdown went into place, so that's 8 weeks that they've been in that situation. So you can imagine mental health is certainly being tried at this point, and they're feeling it. But at the same time, the government and local officials in particular are really concerned as to when you ease up on these restrictions and people start to move around, thereby potentially increasing the risk of more exposure around the country. So that's why they're keeping hospital capacity at an increased state right now. While they've closed the field hospitals, the designated hospitals are still in place, and they're going to potentially use that space to treat any influx as they're ultimately trying to get back to business. Because that's what this is going to be about, too. You've got to think about restarting the economy here, and that's going to require people to really get all together.
David, there was so much.
Designated hospitals are still in place, and they're going to potentially use that space to treat any influx as they're ultimately trying to get back to business. Because that's what this is going to be about, too. You've got to think about restarting the economy here, and that's going to require people to really get all together.
You know that I think that that's just kind of a cover up ultimately. Right? I think a lot of people think that as well. Ultimately, that's just a cover up. And I just, we've all thought for a long time that this is just it's just a distraction for what they ultimately want to do. Not that the beer cold is not a real thing. It is a real thing, obviously, but it's a distraction. Thank you, Win Mullet. It's a distraction from what's looking to be done. We all know that. It's just a matter of what do they see as the answer? What's their plan A? What's their plan B? Because, here earlier, this is discussing the need for banks and central banks to do more to get it right and reboot the global economy. Reboot the global economy. And we've said this before, it's a script, right? They're just playing it out. So here's something interesting as well. So Tom Powell tweeted, I saw 15 trillion mentioned as the dollar shortage bogey. Sound right? Jim Ricker says it's like the beer cold and moving target. Shortages beget shortages. Whatever it is now, it will be bigger tomorrow. Fed will have to do dollar triage. I'm watching the fact that China is not on that list. Good luck to them. Yeah. He's talking about this right here, I believe. So Jim Ricketts tweeted, swap lines are simple. Foreign banks need dollars. Their central banks can't print them. So Fed prints money. Foreign bank prints whatever. Two banks swap with promise to swap back later. Dollar crisis spreading faster than the beer cold. China is not in the club. Not in the club. So I guess you probably want to check out this thing from Mr. BXRP. I have not watched this video, but apparently there's some study that says some patients being cured by taking some kind of malaria. I believe that's drug, but I haven't watched the video, so I don't know. This is talking about the partnership with D-Money. This is the one I'm wondering what's up. Shout out to Michael at Val5Links. Republican Representative Maxine Waters from California proposed a beer cold relief plan Wednesday that would oblige the Federal Reserve to provide families with $2,000 for all adults and $1,000 for each child during each month of the pandemic. Wouldn't that be nice? That would be a cool thing. What do you think about? I might have to cheer. Might have to cheer for Miss Waters. Might have to cheer her on, see if she can't get that approved. What do you think about that, guys? $2,000. Doesn't it feel like they're just trying to throw everything in the kitchen sink at this situation with the beer cold? Doesn't it seem that way to you? It really does seem like that to me. It's just trying to throw everything they can at this. And I just think in the end, the market's still going to tank anyway, and they're going to say that they've done everything possible they humanly can, and it's time to move on to a new system. They're saying it right there, reboot the global economy. This is twice now on mainstream media. They mentioned reboot the global economy. That's what I believe, Jackie33. Jackie33 says, Siege, do you think they will pump a massive amount of money into the economy because they know there's a reset on the way? That's what I believe. That's what I believe. I don't think there's any doubt at all that a new reset is coming. How they solve the challenges with all the corporate debt and the personal debt, corporate debt, bank debt, central bank debt, government debt, I don't know what that answer is. I just know that they are looking. There's no doubt in my mind that they're looking for a reset. What they're going to use, how they're going to solve, how they're going to address the balance sheets, don't know. It feels as though gold and digital assets are going to be a big part of it. It makes sense to me that the IMF would be involved. with these SDRs because the major nations are familiar with the IMF and them playing a role in these particular situations. So it's not uncommon. It's very comfortable, and it has been done before. I think it's funny that if they do pass this 2,000 per whatever family, that they're thinking about sending a check. I find that to be very, very interesting. I find that to be very, very interesting. But that's what I do believe, Jackie 33. Right, exactly. And that's what it is. And again, Jackie 33, in terms of the mainstream media, remember, they're getting their playbook and their script from the powers that be, and then they're out putting it out there because they know that the masses go to the mainstream media for their information. And, panic besets or begets panic. They know it. They absolutely know it. And, I use the term or phrase deflection because that's what I believe it is. But anybody got any further word on the potential U.S. lockdown? I spoke with a friend and business partner about 4 days ago. I think it was so it was Monday. And she had gotten the word from someone, military Pentagon, that it was supposed to be within 48 hours. That has not happened yet. But the Donald, they were going to announce this lockdown in 48 hours. So that would have been Wednesday. Still hasn't happened yet. So the Donald mentioned that, he was going to discuss, some meetings with, the FDA and how that all looked. Nothing from the Donald, President Trump yet. So, you know what I mean? So that's kind of the thing. And the people are going to stay in place. I do think that this whole thing that they're doing with the National Guard and deploying these people in different spots is interesting that they're doing that. And I think that the guise is that they're doing it for, the different things going on with the beer code. But it could also be that they're in preparation for whatever this reset is going to look like. Jackie 33 says, I watched a conspiracy video saying they wanted schools to install 5G. Yeah. So, you got to think about why the National Guard, right? You really have to think about why that is, why they would be looking to do something like that. You know what I mean? It's just absolutely bigger picture. We all know, look, people like Jim Rickards, people like Peter Schiff, we all know that this economy is going to go to a recession if it's not already in one. But what's the answer? They can no longer keep kicking the can down the curve. They know this. They got to come up with a new answer. The timing for digital assets to take its place in this new financial system is definitely upon us. They are proven fintech firms to become banks. We're moving into a new quantum financial system without question. My dude is still saying that there's going to be a new US dollar, that it is going to be digital, backed by gold and some other assets. So it's a bigger play without question. And I guess, throwing all this money, it just feels so much like a season of, I just had the name of that series. the political TV series. I keep forgetting the name of it. With the blonde, short hair blonde, and the dude, and I can't remember any of their names right now. Oh my god! But it feels like that. I think, what is it called? I can't remember. What is the name of that? It's a political TV show, very, very popular. Until he got busted for doing, you know, crazy stuff with dudes as well. Not West Wing, no. Can't remember the name of it. But anyway, that's what this whole thing feels like. No, not West Wing. This was more popular than West Wing, I think. But my gosh, I can't remember their name. I can't remember any of these people's name right now. She had short blonde hair, and he was the president or trying to become president. But his personal life kind of messed everything up. Nope, not Madam Secretary. Oh my gosh. I can't remember the name. House of Cards, that's the one. Thank you, Barry Broussard. This whole thing for me is just right out of House of Cards. All of these, all the show. Kevin Spacey, yes. All the show, Kevin Spacey, and what was her name? What's the female's name? I forget her name, but right, all of this to me is just like right out of the House of Cards. All of the deflection, all this other stuff, you know, put these illusions out there. I don't know what Square is worth, but I know they were they were in the top 10 companies in digital assets, in the digital asset space, along with Ripple. I know that for some reason. I believe that they were, and I don't know if it was digital assets or new fintech companies. So they're up there. But this is what it seems like to me. Just if you ever watch House of Cards, that's what it seems like to me. Just, you know, putting on a show, a lot of drama. But there's a bigger picture, and they don't want the masses to know. Robin Wright, exactly. Cutie, Robin Wright. Yep. Jerome Ellison is in the building. Good to see you, Jerome. So that's what I think it's like. That's what I think is going on. I really, really do. Just drama, misdirection, if you will. That's what I believe to be going on. Nothing more than that. Nothing, absolutely nothing more than that. So yeah, that says enough. So that's what I really do believe is going on. Let me see what else I got on Twitter. Let me change this view one more time, guys. So that's, I mean, to me, that is the news without question of the day. Square getting a banking license essentially by the FDIC and moving in that direction is going to be massive. Multitasking, yeah, sure, it's definitely a trip, and it feels like it's playing out in the real world. That's exactly right, Barry Broussard. That's exactly what it feels like to me. Yep, look over here while we implement a new financial system. That's exactly right, Grad Barlinghouse. That's exactly what I believe. Yep. Misdirection. Because it's inevitable. I mean, we all know that from a financial standpoint. We know it is inevitable. They know that the dollar is going to lose its, is more than likely to lose its position as the world's reserve currency. You know, the word level playing field, and you know, I know that Donald said this 3 years ago, but what does that look like to them? What is that going to look like? A level playing field. Seems like to me it's going to have to come from they're definitely moving into the digital asset space. So it's got to be this reference point that is not tied to any economy, and it's got to be digital, and it's got to be something that can have utility and store value to it. Utility and store value. Gold may have the store value. I'm sure if it has the same utility level of utility like XRP has. And it's just it's the perfect asset to have. And like DNI says, they can set a value to it. They can do a price set of this digital asset or this ESDR. They can do it. And no one's going to argue with them, is what I keep saying. No one is going to argue with them. The nations of the world are not going to argue. And who knows, the Bank of America and Ripple partnership might be that lever that needs to be pulled, just like Barry said, to introduce this to the world, whether you got, a traditional bank and you got this fintech, which is known as a digital asset company, coming together. It might be that. You never know what they're going to announce with Bank of America. They might let the world know what Bank of America is looking to do with the digital asset XRP. And that announcement alone could send the prices to God knows what kind of levels, right? Oh, good for you, Barry. Good for you. While in Puerto Rico, I convinced a handful of people that had no idea about cryptocurrency to invest in XRP and HODL. Nice. Good for you, brother. Good for you. That is awesome to hear, man. Told them they definitely need to do their own research, though, to understand what it is they're holding. Good for you, bro. XRP number one, we all hope XRP is involved. I think we have to always remind ourselves, why is Ripple going around the world working with all these central banks? Why are they meeting with the IMF? That has to be a clue. I don't think you have to meet with the IMF for cross-border payments. Do you have to meet with the IMF to sell your software technology? Like, do you have to meet with the IMF to sell your software technology? You know what I'm saying? I don't think you do. You guys see what I'm saying? Like, I don't think you have to meet with the IMF. Anybody see that in the rules? That, right? Is that in commerce, in some commerce rule book somewhere, that as a fintech company, you have to meet with the IMF in order to sell your software to banks? Right? Like, we have to remember the facts. And the facts are that Brad Garlinghouse was on stage, front and center, if you will, at that desk, on that table, in this presentation to central banks. Not Dan Larimer, not Charles Hoskinson, not Sonny Liu. Brad. Do you need to meet with the IMF? I don't think so. I don't think so. But yet, there they are. There they were. We already got the documents proving that Mnuchin is meeting, has appointments with Brad Garlinghouse. Why? For cross-border payments? Yeah, I don't think so. Deputy Managing Director Tao Zhang's keynote address on central bank digital currencies, March 19th. Oh, do you have a link with that, XRP number one? Yeah, so you think the IMF is the lender of last resort? I agree. I think they are. And again, this has happened before. So it's not unusual to the central banks or governments of the world, the major nations. It would not be unusual for the IMF to come to the rescue, because they've done it before. And it's a combination of the ESDR, gold, and we believe XRP. So that's March 19th. So that's today. Interesting. Right? I just think that we can't forget that. We can't just think that that's, you know, meeting with the IMF is just about cross-border payments. That just doesn't make sense to me. Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to cover this tonight. Thank you for sharing that, XRP number one. Thank you for sharing that link, Windmiller. Right? Yeah, I just think we have to pay attention to that. Oh man, it froze? It did freeze. Hold on. Hold on. That should clear up now. Did it work? We can't forget about Brad Garlinghouse meeting with the people from the IMF, right? We just can't forget that. It's all set. They gave up and realized that the XRP family will be the new wealth class. Yeah, you know? Yeah, that's gonna be an interesting article to read. I'll probably share with you guys later tonight. So in the end, guys, we can't forget that. We got to think the bigger picture. Why is Brad Garlinghouse meeting with people from the IMF and involved in meetings and get-togethers with central banks? And why, after that meeting, did the head of the BIS all of a sudden change his tune about digital assets? It's just being played out before us. We just got to pay attention to it. That's really what it is. Barlinghouse says, great info, Siege. Grandbaby's coming over. Got a boat. Later, family. Have a great day, brother. Good to see you. Appreciate you being here. Enjoy your time with your grandbabies. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap up this stream. It's been great to hang out. I believe BK is live now. Be sure to go check out BK's streams as well today. All right, guys, listen, I'm going to wrap up this stream like I do all my streams and remind you of this. Old money doesn't want you to win. They don't want us to win. They would rather us remain a cog in their perpetual wheel of trading our time for dollars. They don't want us to play in the same playground that they play in, where we allow our money to work for us. This is our chance to win, guys. The digital asset space is our chance to win. We are in the midst of the greatest transfer of wealth in the history of man. Are you participating? Or are you standing on the sidelines? Here's what I do know. That the battle for you has already been fought. And the victory is yours. Go get it. I'll talk to you soon, guys. See ya. Bye.